Hi, my name is Amy Woodcock, and this is my assignment for my lesson. I use the backwards design model, and in the model, I often use this when planning my units and lessons for my first graders. My main learning goal for students is to use details and illustrations in a story to describe characters, setting, and the sequence of events that take place. My objectives break down like this. The student will identify and describe the characters in the story. The students will describe the setting as well, and then the student will describe key details and events in a sequential order, and then use illustrations in the story itself to describe the characters in the setting and the events. One SD standard that I hit in this lesson was Designer 5B, and how to do was using digital tools to maximize active deep learning. The YouTube video I chose on the Three Little Pigs was something that they were familiar with, yet they did a fantastic job breaking down the story and describing the objectives we were trying to hit also. They did a great job. It was just great, a great way to engage my students, and a lot of times that's half the battle. The lesson assessment went with our story of The Nice Mitten, where students completed a graphic organizer, and then they had choice to illustrate and write a sentence about their favorite event, and then they shared that with the class. This was all assessed by a rubric looking at the graphic organizer, illustration, and writing. I have a wide range of learner characteristics in my students. I have students who are strong, avid readers, and so this all came naturally for them. And while I have others that struggle with encoding and decoding skills, making it more difficult, comprehension for these students becomes a bit of a challenge. Materials consisted of was the book, a graphic organizer, chart paper, art supplies, the computer, my Elmo projector, and an audiobook. Activities took place in this order. So on day one, the students watched the Three Little Pigs video for an introduction, and then together we filled out the graphic organizer looking at the characters in the setting. Then the students used the Think, Pair, Share strategy to identify key details with their partner, and then they completed an interactive cut and paste story, which then they pasted in their reading notebook. And then on day two, this lesson continued with them buddy reading The Nice Mitten with their partner. Struggling students were allowed to listen to the story online, and then students completed the story element graphic organizer using words and pictures. Then they illustrated their picture and got to write a sentence describing their favorite event from the story. This was definitely one of their favorite parts. Finally, they placed their picture on the Elmo, and then in our share chair, they were able to share it with the class. And I assessed using the rubric that I created with Rubistar. Overall, I really enjoyed this lesson, and I feel like my students did as well. They loved both these stories. I found that anything with animals at this age is always a winner. The interactive notebook worked well to finish the introduction of the lesson on day one, and it helped me see if they understood the elements of a familiar story. The timing of getting the lesson completed in 2 days was a bit of an issue. Some of my students are more detail-oriented, and because of the length, our presentations were not all able to be shared on that second day, so that had to go into a third day. But that was okay. The students still were really excited and engaged overall. Thank you very much.